The 8 biggest reasons you are not losing weight. If you are that person who is on it with the diet, you feel like you're doing all the right things, but you're not seeing the scales change, this video is for you. And we're gonna put that right. And it's not gonna be about fixing your metabolism or some fad diet or trendy things, but the 8 things that I see from my experience working with people on fat loss every single day that's really gonna make a difference. If you are new here, please make sure you subscribe, get involved in the channel. My name's Andy, I'm a fat loss coach, and I try and put out as much videos like this as I can to help you along the way with fat loss. So let's get stuck straight in. And reason number 1, now ultimately this one underpins everything else that I'm going to be talking about, but if you are truly not losing weight, if you are not dropping body fat, we have to first and foremost recognize this one. And it's that obviously you are not in a calorie deficit. Now, a lot of people are like, no, I think I am and I'm doing all the right. The more and more you battle against that one, and the more and more you convince yourself that it's, again, your metabolism or that it's something wrong with you and your body, the further from the truth you're actually hiding yourself. You have to understand the way that fat loss works, which is energy balance. The calories in versus the calories out. If your calories in are more than your calories out, you're going to gain weight. If your calories out are more than your calories in, you will lose weight. And if they are the same, which is often the case when you're not losing weight but trying and you're more closer to maintenance, it means the calories in and the calories out are matched. So you are not in that deficit that we need to create. And again, that's number 1 and what we have to accept and understand before we can move on to the other areas. Which leads us into number 2, because of course if we're not in that deficit, we need to start understanding why. And there is already a clue in this video, and it's this thing on my hand. It's so common nowadays with the use of smartwatches and trackers that actually you're overestimating the amount of calories you burn, especially during workouts. I don't want you to be paying attention to the amount of calories that you burn in a workout. Most workouts will burn 200 to 400 calories per exercise session. Now, these watches are shown to overestimate the calories burnt by 30 to 50%, which is obviously quite a lot, because you could go into a training session, feel really good, burn 300 calories, but your watch tells you you've burnt 600 calories. Now, if you then pay attention to that watch and the information it's giving you, then you could very easily think, oh, well, to be fair, I did burn that many calories during the workout today. And then you'll give yourself that back and you'll eat those calories back. And just because the number here gave it you, you'll think you are in a deficit, but actually you didn't burn that many calories. The easiest fix for this one, right, is that old saying of you can't out-train a bad diet. Forget your training sessions, forget calories burnt when it comes to fat loss. Focus on your calories in and not your calories out. Which brings us on to number 3, because I don't just want you to focus on your calories in, I want you to truly understand them, because just like these things are inaccurate for calories burnt, we know that tracking calories is consistently done inaccurately. We've had studies done where they have literally tried to pay people to accurately track calories, and they are still inaccurate with the tracking that they do. There has been dietitians and nutritionists, like I'm a nutritionist, I'm literally trained to understand this stuff. So they took dietitians and nutritionists and asked them to estimate the calories they'd eaten, and they were still underestimating their calories, which means if you are not trained in this, it's such an easy area for you to do that. It's such an easy thing for you to do. And it often comes down to really simple things: not weighing your calories out accurately, forgetting to put the biscuit in that you had at lunch, or somebody else cooks tea and you weren't quite sure on the ingredients you made. This one isn't down to you making one huge mistake. It's often that just 6 or 7 small moments across the day you forget, you miss track, you don't add something, and those little bits of calories add up, and it's so easy then for that to take you out of your deficit entirely for the day. When it comes to my clients, they track things and they measure out their portion sizes accurately so that we know that we don't make these mistakes. Now, number 4, when it comes to fat loss, obviously we don't just want you eating anything and everything. We want you thinking about the food choices you make and eating a better quality diet. But a better quality diet does not always mean a low calorie diet, and this is something very misunderstood. There are foods like avocados, granola, olive oil, nut butters, all of those things are good for you. They have healthy fats, and I'd actively encourage you to use them, but it doesn't make them low calorie. Often people will be eating healthy. You could have a healthy smoothie that's full of strawberries, bananas, different types of fruit, but these all add calories to your diet. So just because you eat a healthy diet doesn't mean you eat a low calorie diet, and people often misunderstand healthy is not necessarily fat loss. Yes, we want a healthy diet, diet, but that healthy diet still needs to be calorie controlled and it still needs to be managed with the portion sizes. Now, number 5, and this one is certainly going to start happening over the summer in the UK, liquid calories. Now, I don't just mean the beers that you're going to be having in the beer garden, but liquids across the course of the day actually add up really fast. Even things like cooking oils, without knowing it, if you're cooking 1 or 2 meals a day using olive oil, it's 150 calories you might not be paying attention to. There's also the other liquids across the day, the milk that you have in your coffee, an orange juice you might have with breakfast. Yeah, I talk about beers in the beer garden, but you might have a Lucozade when you're training. But all of these things have calories, and really easily, if you're not paying attention to those liquid calories, it's something that can add up dead quickly. So again, when it comes to fat loss, you want to make sure you're paying attention to your whole diet. Don't forget these things. Now, I suppose number 6 is a little bit fitting off the back of us talking about liquid calories because it is the weekend. So many people have a good diet Monday to Friday, and it's obvious why as well. You think about this, right? Monday to Friday, you probably have more structure. You probably know what time you wake up. You probably know what time you go to bed. You know what time you get your breaks for work. You know the time you have available to go to the gym or whatever else, right? You have structure and routine. The weekends, you don't have that structure and routine, which means it's obviously the easiest place, as well as it being the most social time, for you to come off track with your diet. So a lot of the time I'll hear somebody like, no, yeah, I'm doing really well on my diet. And then I say, what did you do on Saturday? And all of a sudden it's, oh, well, actually, I skipped my normal breakfast and then I was out at lunch and then a couple of drinks and then we went out for a meal. And these things, without you realizing it, it's so easy for them to take you out of a deficit. If your deficit is 500 calories per day, so every single day for you to lose a pound a week, you have a 500 calorie deficit. All you need to do to undo that for a full week is overconsume by 2,500 over the weekend. To undo Monday to Friday's work, you just need to overdo your calories by 2,500. If we were to split that through Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, we're talking about 800 calories, which again, a couple of drinks and 1 meal can easily take you over that number. So please, if your goal is fat, you don't have to live like a monk. This is where things like calorie cycling, which maybe I'll do another video on this, where we can start to manage your calories a little bit more tactically and a little bit more strategically across the week to be able to make room for those social occasions. But if you treat every single one of your weekends like, it doesn't matter, it's the weekend, that is a seriously easy way to undo the progress that you want to make. But then, let's say you have all those things in place, you have a good quality diet, you're tracking things properly, you're not paying attention to the watch, your weekends are on point and you're not drinking half of your calories, you're doing all of it right, everything's going to plan, but you still don't need to see any changes. Well, that's where number 7 comes in, because this one is entirely on you, because you are not patient enough. Please stop expecting fat loss to be this miracle that happens overnight. You didn't gain the weight overnight. You're not going to lose it overnight either, are you? Scale weight is not something that happens acutely, right? That means it's not going to drop every single day. You're going to see fluctuations. You're going to see weight stall. It is not uncommon to see weight hold. And when I say weight hold, it's usually water weight, whether that's down to more salt, your training, more food in your digestive system. You might not have been to the toilet yet. There are hundreds of reasons that your body can hold on to water. It is not uncommon for that to happen for 1 to 2 weeks. So although you're doing all the right things with your diet, it's not necessarily going to show up on the scales immediately. If you give up, if you throw in the towel and you lose patience after a couple of days of dieting because you think, well, this isn't working for me, you're simply giving up too soon. Fat loss takes time. Fat loss requires patience. Do not give up because the scales don't give you the answer that you want them to give straight away. And then finally, after all of those things, is number 8. It's inconsistency. Yes, you might have a good couple of weeks, but then you have a week off, and then you have a good couple of weeks, and then you have 2 weeks off, 1 good week, 2 weeks off, 1 good week, 1 bad week, 1 good, 1 bad, all of that jazz, yeah? You're not consistent. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, especially nowadays where you're so used to being able to have everything at your fingertips, right? Dopamine can be achieved through your phone in seconds. Well, unfortunately, when it comes to fat loss results, it doesn't work like that. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes consistency. Again, think of how long it took you to gain weight to get to the position that you're in now. Well, if it took that long, well, it's not necessarily going to take that long to lose it, but you're certainly not going to do it quickly either. And it does require require you to have consistency over time, which is why you need the right approach and you need the right structure to your diet, because if it isn't something you can do for a long period of time, you're going to really struggle. So make sure what you're doing is something you can actually stick to long term. Now, if that sounds like you, firstly, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Go and have a look on my Instagram. I've got loads of videos of stuff like this. However, I also have 2 weeks free fat loss coaching where basically over the first 2 weeks, I'll get you started on all of this stuff. We'll make sure that you have the right targets, that you're doing things in the right way, and you know what to do moving forward. 2 weeks, entirely free. All you need to do is comment me below and I'll get you set up and started. And otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.